Hey guys, Manny's back here, and today we're bringing a new video! Hooray! And this is gonna be my top 10 buffs and nerfs for Clash Royale. Isn't that great? Because, I mean, it's been so long since I've done one of these types of videos. I was planning to do my top 5 anime at one point, but that's kind of too late, because right now, in Clash Royale, the balance changes are about to come, so I'm going to try to hurry this up as much as I can and begin this episode. So, without further ado, let's begin. The first nerf we're going to be thinking of is going to be for the Battle Ram. Time and time again, after every balance update, the Battle Ram just seems to be too strong for the arena. And time again, the Battle Ram has gotten some nerfs, some major, some minor, but time and time again, the Battle Ram's still in some of the top best decks out there. So how do we fix this? I have an idea. We reduce the health of the Battle Ram itself instead of the damage. Maybe that actually might make a difference for once. Because now that I think about it, if the Battle Ram had a little bit less health, it wouldn't be guaranteed to get to the tower if a Valkyrie were defending it. Theoretically, speaking, you know, but that's my idea on how to nerf the Battle Ram. Moving on to the next card. Number 2, the Freeze Spell. A couple of years ago, during the early stages of Clash Royale, the Freeze Spell actually used to be one of the best cards in the game, but ever since it got a couple of nerfs in the past, the Freeze Spell, well, you know, as looking at the picture, it sucked. But during the December update, it actually got a buff by gaining damage, and that actually changed the Freeze Spell a lot, because now you see it against Skarmies defending graveyards, and poof! I mean, that's how strong it is. It can one-shot skeletons and freeze all those other troops that try to attack the graveyard. So my idea how to fix the Freeze Spell is by nerfing the damage a little bit. Just a little bit, not majorly, how they did it with the Electro Dragon or how they did with the Magic Archer, but you know what I mean. Just a little bit of damage, and it should be good. Number 3, the Three Musketeers. No coincidence, huh? The Three Musketeers have been a super strong card in the past metas. That's the reason why the Barbarian, or the Battle Ram, was on this list, because it tanks for the Three Muskets. For example, it acts like a lightning rod for the Three Muskets. The Ice Golem defends it. Things that can kill it are Fireball, Rockets, and other cards that do it. So, in order to fix this, I got a nice solution. We just make the Three Musketeers back to the original cost, 10 elixir. I know this might seem a little harsh to the Three Muskies, but trust me, making it turn back into 10 elixir will be worth it. But if they increase it to 10 elixir, then they're gonna have to buff the stats a little bit though, which will come into more explanation during the buff list. Number 4, the Bandit. Hey, Bandit was released into the game. It was kind of strong, so my idea to nerf the Bandit is just tone the stats down a little bit. Not so harsh. I know Supercell won't mess it up this time. My number 5 card, the Barbarian Barrel. When the Barbarian Barrel came into the game, boy did it suck, because when it got nerf, or buff, after buff, after buff, after buff, after buff, it finally became viable. And so, after all those buffs, it finally became too strong, and so then you expected it got nerf, after nerf, after nerf, after nerf. And it's still too strong to this day. I mean, really, you can see the Barbarian Barrel in almost any deck. Plus, the Barbarian Barrel is in the lowest arena possible. So, I don't want to break the card, or since it's too strong, but I think the Barbarian Barrel deserves a rework here. I have a plan. We make it 3 elixir, but we make it like a Goblin Barrel, where you can throw it, since it still has that one Barbarian inside, but once it hits the ground, it rolls like the log. That actually seems pretty cool, while buffing and nerfing some of the stats as well could make it work. That way the Barbarian Barrel isn't too strong, but still viable at the same time. Number 6, the Mega Knight. After getting a recent buff, Mega Knight just became too strong. I mean, that .01 hit speed just makes it too hard to counter it. Plus, every time I play Rascals at the bridge, poof! They're gone because of that one Mega Knight. I mean, really, because of that jump or landing mechanic, he'll destroy everything. So, in order to nerf this guy, we just gotta tone down the landing damage a little bit. Maybe just reduce it by half a tile? Who knows, but still, don't overdo the nerf, Supercell. Number 7, the Night Witch. Just like with the Barbarian Barrel, but not exactly with the Barbarian Barrel. When the Night Witch came into the game, it was too strong, literally. Because back then, it was too strong, it got a hefty nerf, and now it depends on the Golem to survive, and honestly, I think if we want to see less Night Witch Golem, we gotta nerf the stats a little, or buff the stats a little bit, but if that stats get buffed, then we gotta make sure that they'll... What I'm sort of trying to say is that if we increase the elixir cost of the Night Witch from 4 to 5, we can make it stronger by increasing the stats just a little bit and maybe give it an extra bat during spawn. Number 8, the Golem. No coincidence? Sure. Like I said with the Night Witch depends on the Golem to survive. And trust me, there's a lot of Golem beatdowns out there. And the Golem took a minor nerf in the last balance update by getting the Golemites to deal less of a pushback, but in order to nerf this Golem, we gotta tone down the Golemites a little bit. Like, let's say just turn down the death damage a little bit, not hurting the stats of the health or attack. So that's my idea how to nerf the Golem. At number 9, we have the Elite Barbarians. Now, the Elite Barbarians, when they came into the game, were too strong. Because whenever a maxed out level 13 Elite Barbarian was played at the bridge, boy was I scared. So I think a rework would do with order. So in order to make that happen, maybe that when the Elite Barbarians get played, maybe they can become 7 elixir instead of 6, but their first attack is stronger. I think that should work and make them viable, yet at the same time, not too strong. And at number 10 of the nerf list, we have the Royal Ghost. Now, when the Royal Ghost also came out, he was also too strong. He always became invisible too quickly when he was released in December, and with Rage, oh, that was a nightmare. Now, so we don't get the Royal Ghost sleeping through the meta, in order to nerf him, we just nerf his little damage just a little bit, and we increase or decrease how fast he can turn invisible. That's my idea how to nerf him, not too heavily.
Yeah!
And at number 1 for the buff list, we have... No, not the Barbarian Barrel. No, not the Lumberjack either. No, not the Royal Ghost. No, not the Freeze either. No, not the Log. I was about to say no, it's a 4 elixir card, not the Fireball. But all these cards can counter this one card, the Zappies. The Zappies overall are just a little too weak. I suggest that by buffing them, we can either increase their attack range or their attack speed. That's my idea on how to buff the Zappies. At number 2, we have the number 1 card, the Log. Now, with the Log, it was kinda hard, because with the Barbarian Barrel out there rolling around, the Log has begun to lose a little light. So, my idea of buffing the Log would be to increase the damage at least by 2%, and increasing the range by half a tile. That should work and not make it too overpowered. For number 3, we have the Rascals. Now, remember when I said about buffing the Log? Yeah. Well, the Log can take out the Rascal Girls within less than a hit, and the arrows can take out the Rascal Girls with that hit. And in order to buff these Rascals, I suggest increasing the damage of the Rascal Boy just a tiny bit, increasing the level of the Rascal Girls, so that way they can survive a equal level Log, and still die to a higher level Log. And at number 4, we have the Ram Rider. Now, the Prince, Dark Prince, Royal Hogs, Hog Rider, even Battle Ram seem to outcharge the Ram Rider, mostly because of how popular the Battle Ram has begun to become. So, I suggest this buff to the Ram Rider. I suggest that they increase the health of the Ram Rider, or they can increase the damage of her weapon so it can stop the Barbarian or Battle Ram from taking over. That's my idea how to buff the Battle Ram. And at number 5 for the buff list, we have the Musketeer. Now, remember what I said about the 3 Musketeers on how they should be nerfed? Well, remember what I said about how the Musketeer has to do with this? Well, I suggest to buff it, we turn it to a 3 elixir, but we also increase the health a tiny bit, or, well, actually, no. You know what? It's either the increase on or decrease on elixir and decreased stats, or the increase in stats. That's my idea on how to buff the Musketeer. So that way, the 3 Musketeers are still viable. At number 6, we have the Wall Breakers, who are not out yet. Now, the Wall Breakers, when I saw their first gameplay, whoo-wee, I had my first impression. When played at the bridge, they're extremely weak. They can both die to the tower, and combined with the log or the Barbarian Barrel, they can still be taken out. But this is an easy fix, though. I have a way to buff the Wall Breakers by giving them death damage like the Giant Skeleton, but only dealing the exact same amount of death damage they deal as they do regularly. So, with that out of the way, that buff should actually fix the Wall Breakers. Number 7, the Heal Spell. Now, when the Heal Spell got turned into a 1 elixir card, boy, I was upset, so now I know we need a rework for this. We need instant healing Heal Spell now. That way, for 1 elixir, it can instantly heal a chunk of health back to a troop with low health. At number 8, we have the Cannon Cart. Now, the Cannon Cart is what you think of it. It's a cannon on wheels. A cannon on wheels. You see? Now, in order to buff the Cannon Cart, we have to think about the counters like the Sparky, the Skeleton Army, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Ram Rider, the Prince, you name it. So in order to fix this, I have an idea. You can either increase the shield stats so it won't die to a single Sparky blast, or decrease the speed it has, because it's a cannon on wheels. Like Clash with Ash said, it should be slow moving, give you time to build up a rush. And like I said before, just increase some of the stats so that its shield won't go down to a first Sparky strike. At number 9, we have the Electro Dragon. Now, the Sparky can be countered by many Zap cards. For example, the Electro Wizard, the Zap, the Zappies. All good cards, but there is one card in particular who can't live up to that standard because of the amount of low health he has. The Electro Dragon. Now, ever since its nerf back then in December, it kinda devastated me. Really, that was kinda a little harsh to the baby dragon. Or Electro. It can die to lightning lower than its level now. Really, the lightning is able to make it disappear like poof! Zap, like that! That's how strong the lightning is to it. So in order to buff the Electro Dragon, we gotta at least increase the attack speed a little bit, and increase the damage just a tiny bit, so that way it can actually become a valuable 5 elixir card. Some honorable mentions before we get to number 10, which would be the Princess and the Sparky, 2 cards who have not received a lot of love lately, but anywho, on to the final card. And at number 10, we have the Goblin Giant. Now, it's a goblin, and it's also a giant. A very small giant with spear goblins in its backpack. Not just 1 spear goblin, but 2 spear goblins. And it should have been strong, but, well, what do you know? It was actually pretty terrible. Because the only cards it could go up with as combos were the Sparky, the Dark Goblin, and the Miner. I mean, which in my opinion were okay combos when I tried them out, but it's still good though. I know a way we could fix it, because I have proof to show you why the Giant Goblin needs another buff. Because, as you can see right there, the use rates and the win rates of the Goblin Giant is not good. So how do we buff the Giant Goblin? Simple. We turn it into a 5 elixir card, but reduce the health of the Giant Goblin, or damage of the Giant Goblin, just a little bit. And yeah, there you have it, folks. That was my top 10 buffs and nerfs for Clash Royale that we need. Now, before this video ends, I would like to say this is just my opinions, like if those cards should be buffed or nerfed, and if they should even be touched at all. And so there you have it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.